I'm just going to run this video and explain to you a little bit what's going on. Stevie is him and his team are trying to build a set of displays, a set of technology that they call the magic window. They have this vision in the future that you will just have a wall in your home and you will click your fingers and that will turn into a display into somewhere else in the world. So what he's showing you here is he has a display on the left. It's called a transparent OLED. It's an organic light-emitting diode display, but it's a transparent display, so we can actually see through the display. So on the right-hand side, you can see his hand being recognized, and he's not touching the screen, but the screen can see his hand. So we're building technology. We have displays that not only can display, but can see. And the example he's just shown here, he's held up an object that's kind of like a pencil with a small barcode on the end, and the screen can see that pencil and interact and react with it, and in this case, burns out the Post-it notes. And then see what he does with this Post-it note. Puts it on the screen, and the screen can see the Post-it note and then display the Post-it note. And that's a dramatically different world of display technology than where we are right now. And Stevie and his team are building this thing that literally they call the magic window. This is a project that we showcased for the first time a couple of weeks ago in Microsoft. It's in our research lab, so this isn't something that you're going to go and buy next week and maybe not even next year. But it will give you an example of some of the areas where we're exploring what can you do with these smart sensors and cameras and display technology. So this project's called Illumashare. And I'll explain very quickly what's going on. You've got this guy here, Sasha, who came up with this concept, and then a colleague of his who's sat behind him. And what Sasha's doing is he has what looks like a desktop lamp above him, and his colleague has one that looks very similar. Turns out this is a little bit more than a lamp. In that lamp, there's a set of lights, obviously. He has just a piece of paper on his table that's being lit by the lamp. But also in the lamp is a projector and a camera. And see what happens when you put these two things together. I'll let them show a couple more examples and then explain a little bit what's going on. So he's going to take some playing cards, put them down, and he's going to have a remote game of cards with his friend. His friend's going to put his cards down. And then he's going to put a physical object down. So he rolls some dice, and Sasha sees the dice. But he could be rolling those dice on the other side of the world. He could be sat in the same conference room, in a different conference room, in a different country, but it's creating this very natural way to interact with people. It looks incredibly simple. I saw this myself and played with it myself for the first time a few weeks ago. And it's deceptively simple. You literally sit down at a table, there's a piece of paper, you draw, and then somebody somewhere else in the world is drawing on your piece of paper. It's quite an unnatural experience, but it becomes natural very quickly. And they also demonstrated a version of this that works on whiteboards. So imagine you're in a conference room and you're drawing on a whiteboard, and as you draw, somebody else, somewhere else in the world, their stuff starts to appear on the whiteboard at the same time. And it creates this just amazing new way to do collaboration in a very, very natural way. There's some very fancy technology behind this. And the final example I'm going to show you is a video, another one of our researchers called Benko. His name's Hervé Benko, but we all call him Benko. And he and another guy, Andy Wilson, have been exploring for a long time how do you start to use display technology? How do you create 3D environments? How can you use things like these depth cameras, these 3D cameras, to create completely different experiences with technology? So this is one of their most recent projects. It's called the Wearable Projector. And again, I'll let the video run in the background. It'll become pretty apparent quickly what's going on here. So clearly this isn't something you're going to buy in the shop anytime soon. I don't think people are going to walk around with this thing on their shoulder, but the intention being that this technology, like all technology, will get shrunk down relatively quickly. So he has a projector and a version of a Kinect sensor on his shoulder. And what happens is a blue dot appears on any surface in front of him, and you'll see in a moment he'll literally hold his hand out and a blue dot will appear on his hand, and he'll tap the dot and his hand turns into an interface. So this starts to get us towards that point where I said any surface can become a digital display. I'll give you an example of where, so literally he holds out a paper pad, and that paper pad becomes something he can paint on. It's not very sophisticated from an interface point of view at the moment, but it demonstrates the principle that we've now got this technology that literally does let you turn any surface into a digital display.